Hello, welcome back to Southern Handmade. My name is Patrick. I am so glad you're here. Today I'm taking a break from sculpting to talk to you about how do you get better at sculpting faster. If you're anything like me, you like doing it, but sometimes it feels like you might be hitting a brick wall. Well, I spent 2 years of my life improving from sculpting sculptures like this to this. And I feel like I made improvements pretty quickly. So I wanted to talk you through how I did that and give you some advice on 5 ways you can get better at sculpting faster. Number 1 is focus on shapes. All of sculpting is shapes. The problem is that we're wired to want to focus in on the details and not the big picture. We want to start sculpting the face by working on eyes. We want to get the fur on so we can see the dog. And this instinct to focus in on the details can cause us to rush past the most important parts of a sculpture. You need to start with big, wonky, almost formless shapes. One way to find these shapes is to squint at your subject. I've also just drawn straight onto my references to identify good shapes. And you might say, wait, if I'm only working on big shapes, when will I ever get good at detail? And you're right, you can't stay at big shapes forever, but everything is shapes. So master your big shapes, work on your medium shapes, get to the small shapes, and you'll be well on your way to being a better sculptor. But you have to start with these big shapes, otherwise the smaller details will never quite sit right. Piece of advice number 2, put healthy limits on the amount of time you can work on a single project. One of the things that can make your sculpting grow is giving yourself a time limit. Lots of people get caught up in the perfection of the work and they lose sight of the growth that they want. If you look at my first sculptures, they were kind of ugly. And in honesty, they would have been ugly whether I put 4 hours into it or 40, because I didn't yet have the skills to get all the way down the road I wanted to in terms of good quality detail. And if you only have 2 or 3 hours a week to dedicate yourself to sculpting, it would take you 20 weeks to do a 40-hour project. Now, should you limit everything you do? No, this is all about making choices to improve over time. So if you're making a piece for somebody else, take all the time you need. But if you're trying to practice and trying to just get better for yourself, if you want to improve quickly, you have to limit some of the work so you can get more attempts into it in less time. So basically, get more attempts in less time by putting limits on your projects. The quality of your work will likely suffer when you limit your time, but we aren't trying to make the best work ever. We're trying to get good quickly. So put limits on what you can do at one time. And both of these ideas feed into number 3. To see your skills increase, develop patterns of practice and challenges. What do I mean by distinguishing practice sculptures from challenge sculptures? Well, for me, a practice sculpture is a sculpture that I know I can do. It's a sculpture at my current level that employs similar techniques to the techniques I have learned or am in the process of learning. A challenge sculpture is a sculpture that makes you nervous, a sculpture that has some element that makes you think, I'm not sure I can actually make this project happen. It's a project that gets you out of your comfort zone. And we go between these 2 modes, practice and challenge, to help us learn faster. We practice our current skills 3 or 4 projects in a row, and then challenge ourselves to one project. And in the process of being challenged, odds are you're going to find a new technique or come up with a method to solve the great problem of your challenge sculpture, that thing that made you nervous. And now you can add that skill or tool to your arsenal and practice it. And so we developed this rhythm of practice, challenge, practice, challenge. And in doing so, you incrementally cement good ideas and skills through practice, and you stretch yourself through challenges. At the end of all of this, you'll find that eventually your challenge sculptures become your practice sculptures, and you'll be doing things you never thought possible. 4th idea, watch other people sculpt. We live in the video age, which means we have a whole bunch of resources available to us, and it's really helpful to watch somebody else sculpt. Everyone's brain approaches the work slightly differently. Everyone has a special tool or technique that they employ that you just haven't figured out yet. And you can learn a lot through watching somebody else. I, of course, make videos here that you can watch, and I also live stream every week at twitch.tv/southernhandmade. But rather than just boost my own ego and say, hey, watch my videos, which, again, I'd like you to do, but honestly, I wanted to give you a few other options, both in terms of YouTube and in terms of live streaming, that I watch myself and I think would help you. So in terms of YouTubers, Ace of Clay is probably the best known sculptor on YouTube. He is fantastic, he makes fantastic videos, and is really, really informative. Another one that I really like is called North of the Border. He does a mix of things, but often does sculptures that show a wide range of techniques, and they're a lot of fun too. In terms of streamers, C.Bush is probably one of the best streamers out there in terms of sculpting. He's an incredible sculptor and is very open with his work. He specializes in using cos clay and is highly skilled at impeccable detail. And to boot, he's a nice guy. And Anna Mare, she is another fantastic sculptor who I watch. She's a lot of fun, and she's great making faces and highly detailed fan art. These are both great options in terms of streaming. So yeah, watch other people and you will learn so much. Finally, and I think this might be the best piece of advice, so I saved it till the end, follow the fun. At the end of the day, you gotta do what you enjoy. So when I started sculpting with colored clay, and I found it really frustrating. Could I have stuck with it? Probably yes, but instead I tried medium Sculpty, and I really enjoyed it so much more, so I just gave up on colored clay. And yeah, maybe someday I'll go back and try colored clay again, but for now, and certainly at the beginning, I just wanted to get better at clay in general. And the best way to do that is to be happy while doing it. So follow the path that brings you the most joy, the most happiness. Follow the fun. If you like making Santas, just make a bunch of those. If you find monsters cool, focus in on monsters. If you like sculpting but not painting, who cares about painting? Just do the thing that makes you happy. You have all the time in the world to learn, but you won't really give it the time it deserves unless you want to. And the best way to get there is to focus in on having fun. And these are my 5 tips for how you can get better at sculpting faster. Do you have any tips that you've discovered for yourself? Are there other people that you like to watch on YouTube or streamers you like to watch? Please let me know in the comments below. And if you like this kind of video, please also let me know about that too. I can do more of these in the future. I'm sure I've got advice from my fumbling and bumbling here on the internet. And yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. And of course, till next time, keep being awesome.